Yeah. Gold Talk Wednesdays, man. G2W. Gold Talk. You feel what I'm saying? Indigenous People Talk. Come on in here. I got a couple things I want to talk about today. Oh, yeah, we getting to the paper. You feel me? Now, this one's stamped. It's Indian Givers by Jack Weatherford. That's a good, man. I'm an author, so I study books in order to write better. And so these two books here, I got two of them. If you want to buy one off of me, I sell it to you for $5.99 plus shipping. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to ship it medium mail, so if I'm shipping it medium mail, it's probably gonna be about another $5. So I sell it to you for $10 total, $10.99. And if you want it, just send Indian Givers to Darrell Q Slade at Gmail. DarrellQSlade@gmail.com. And then these will get shipped out to you. And then we'll put it, we actually got a, fact. If you purchase it, it'll come to you in one of these. Feel what I'm saying? Supreme packaging. But this is a good book. Jack Weatherford. I sell it for $5 plus $5.99 for the medium mail. It gets shipped out medium mail. And then we actually got some packaging too, for the mail, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to come on here today. We're going to talk about gold. Give me 1 second. I'm going to cut out and come right back on. So we're going to do a little gold strategy talk today. So this is the price of gold today, July 30th. It's at $32.92. So it's down a little bit from where it's been at for the last, I'd say it's been fluctuating from like 33 to 34 in the last month or so. But gold is a really, really, really good investment, and there's so many different ways that it can be leveraged, right? I like gold for a long term. It's a long term investment. I look at it like a life insurance policy. And one would say, well, how is gold a life insurance policy? Well, number one, once you purchase it, it ain't going nowhere. So this book right here, The New Case for Gold, is a really good book. I got a couple of these too. I sell this one for $25 for this. I got $25 for this. So $25 plus the same amount, $5.99 for medium mail shipping. We could put that into the No More Suits bag too. But just email the title of the book. This is The New Case for Gold to Darrell, D-A-R. I'm gonna put it here in the joint. Darrell Q Slade at Gmail. So it's Darrell, D-A, real like real or Montreal. Real is royal. We the royal ones. Darrell Q Slade at gmail.com. If you want that new case for gold, that's a heavy hitter, and it got gold case wrap. That's what initially intrigued me, is the gold case wrap. So gold that's how you get your rest. What are we looking for? What is it that Negroes always ask for? Is it reparations. Well, you get your reparations by getting your gold back. That is how you really leverage your wealth. You get vaults, and you bank. When you buy gold and you put it into a vault, that vault becomes your bank. So therefore, it's on you how you're gonna govern your exchequer, if you will, for your estate, essentially. So all the gold that you accumulate yourself, you put it into your estate. I mean, it becomes a part of your estate. So if your estate, like how I teach in my curriculum, in the Lord of the Fees, if your estate is essentially like a state, right? So when you build in your estate, you are building a state. You're building a actual state, which is why you heard me mention that you have to have proprietorship to do the line of work of business that I do, right? And so I'm what in the days of old, and during I say the Moorish Renaissance, I would be called a merchant, right? And a merchant is essentially who actually goes out to different townships or parish towns or districts and creates, and works with the vizier. So now the vizier was like the person in the council who like the city states council, who had the vision for the town, or how we're going to improve it, working with the merchants to create new distribution avenues. So that's kind of like what my line of work is. And when you create, that's really you see it say gold futures. That is the future of the lanes of opportunity for the fountain of youth. So like how the NILs was like the last, that's going to be like a pinpoint era in sports, right? But now there's going to be innovative resources where children or young scholars, they're going to be able to be project managers for creating distribution channels. Who wouldn't want that for their child? Who wouldn't want their child to program analysis that can work directly with their audience, right? Specifically like church, like the youth, high school students, college, going into college. So one of the things, what they're gonna be presented with is information like this: gold. Well, how do we get gold into this district, right? So here's our commodity. Here's the district. Here's the warehouses. Here's the channels. So now we're creating lanes from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Okay, so that's what it looks like. As simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Mechanicsburg to Winston-Salem. But in that, you have to have culture. And I think that that's what's missing in the transportation industry. Like, the transportation industry is its own cultural realm within itself, but it's not strategically infused with common, civilian culture. And tying that into our culture, you know what I'm saying, as a people, as a it's only one race, and that's the human race. So when you form in culture, it's like a melting pot, right? So that's what I feel like is going to be for the future. And so like how that looks is like, instead of getting an NIL deal, they're gonna be programming their own deal, and these deals that they're programming is going to have X amount of sales, and it's going to bring in X amount of revenue, right? And out of that revenue, they will be able to pay themselves. That's the beauty of the future. That's the future right there. So you could do estimates based off of what's already in rotation now, and then I'm gonna give a shout out to the Live Alkaline Festival, which is this weekend. I'm not gonna be able to make it this year, but with the culture of the water, right? So that's really, if you can get the point. So I'm a flow that into the gold talk. I can't tell you what to do. All I can say is like my gold accounts are worth noting, right? So you can start out with gold grams. Like if you can't afford this big bar, you can get gold grams and invest in it like it's stock. But the only difference between the gold and stock is that gold is actual, like it can actually be shipped to you, the tangible asset, like with a weight. With stock is not a weight. Like you can't mine stock, right, and mint it. You can, but now you're going to be paying for the stock plus the price of the metal. You feel what I'm saying? Whereas the price of the metal can pay for the stock. But why would you want to give up your metal for something that's not tangible? So stocks are abstract. Like even with money's abstract. Money is what we think is money. So in the book to my ear, books are really currency. It is a form of currency because it's tangible. It has a tangible weight, and it has intrinsic value based off of who's writing it, and also the aesthetics that it takes to build a book, right? And so that's what I specialize in, book building. I actually seen where gold was used as ink for this Bible. I forget the guy's name on Instagram, but he has all these old books, and that's like really, like when I get ready to create a new project, I drive my inspiration from like this book is going to be read. I want this book to last for 500 years. You feel what I'm saying? So like I'm writing to audiences 500 years. Like that's like the biggest flex. Like there's nobody on my live right now, but a tender for debt. The only thing that can be used for a tender of debt is gold and silver. So gold can be leveraged like a mug, bro. So that's the real money. So if you have gold in your treasuries, in your private treasuries, you don't see what happened with the Great Depression is that it used to be banks were gold depositories. And so you could deposit your gold in your bank and essentially get credit, which is where the dollar bill came from. Gold and silver notes were used to pass bills. And then all of that had to be paid back to the bank. And once it's paid back to the bank, then you can get your gold back. So hence gold-backed securities. But when what happened with the Great Depression was they froze all of the bank accounts. So all these people had their gold and their silver. This is the Constitution. So that was, a system that was established in 1792 with Article 1 of the Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution is what enforced the Coinage Act in 1792. So this is how we were operating, and this is what they try to blind us with, the slave narrative, the slave talk, but really a lot of even slaves probably had gold treasuries because of inheritance. You know what I mean? The gold treasuries came directly from, again, great book. It talks to you about Potosi and the mountains of Potosi, right? So we had inheritance accounts, and a lot of the times our ancestors were buried with gold sprouts, gold earrings. This is what, again, I read at my grandmother's funeral, Exodus 35. So when they were given these gold earrings and these gold sprouts and gold glasses, gold frames, everything was gold. We had a surplus of gold because it was not a currency, it was a way of life back then. Okay? So we had tons of gold to give, and we were buried to preserve that gold. That's why it's called a precious metal. But what happened was all that gold was exhausted once it became a currency. So now when the explorers, the Spanish explorers, came to the Americas, they exhausted all the gold resources. They were looking, and there's like the gold that's buried with our ancestors here in the Americas, they cannot get access to. They don't have access to those gold, to that gold. But what happens is when you don't know who you are, and they have to use the education system as a reroute. It's like rerouting with, like on the GPS, when you go through the school systems, there's nothing wrong with going through the school systems, but the parents have to be dual teachers to teach the real. Like my children have law libraries in their dwelling places. Do you understand? They have sections on the Aboriginals of North America. They have Africana studies. Okay? That's because of the parents. So we can't complain about the school systems if we don't build our own libraries in our own houses. Do you get the point? I'm very passionate about that part because we sit up here and complain that they're not teaching our children. Our children should be the ones teaching the teachers. Our students should be the teachers, and the the teachers should be the students. So we can't complain with the teachers not teaching us because they waiting for our students, our youth, to be the ones to teach them. Napoleon Hill talk about that in Outwitting the Devil. So we already got it backwards. So the teachers, who's going to teach the students? The parents got to be the ones to teach them. It's nobody else's responsibility to teach our children. I don't complain about what they not teaching us. I don't complain. I don't expect them to teach us shit. So it's a reroute. Like, the education system is a reroute from the traditional customs that we had. Because it used to be that we would have the schoolhouses in the house. If you look at the old schools, they were built like houses. They were built like houses. That's because knowledge comes from the first teacher is your mama. When you in the womb. Which I got a good book reference. The Development of the Black Child by Amos Wilson. It's up here somewhere. That's a really good book for, new parents who, who's bringing life into the world, because it goes from the prenatal stage all the way up to their teen and adult years, right? So that's the real, we have to, like, when they say this is investing into your children's education. This is investing into the power. This is investing into the fountain of youth. This ain't even half of, you know what I'm saying? Like, law. That's just the law section. You feel what I'm saying? This is my volume. This is the volume sections. And that's for the kids. You feel what I'm saying? That section race was hard to get. I'm not going to lie. It was hard to get that section race volume series because I lost it, and it's hard to keep up with books. So, I had to buy more books. So they got insurance policies on the books. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, these are things that we can do for ourselves. But yeah, Indian Givers is a really good book that talk about how they exhausted all of the gold resources. Peace, Chief. I was just talking about how we got robbed of all of our gold, but the gold that they couldn't take, by the time it reached our inheritance, we never knew that we had it because we were suppressed heirs. And so that's why it's really important to have these conversations about where you come from and the real history of where you come from. So, zooming in on me and not the picture. So this is a chief of the Kiowa. I don't know if he was a chief, but he comes from the American tribes that was here. And this is this is called Charlestown Landing. Now, Charles is derived from Old German Carl, and then it goes and is broken down into Carlos. This is where you get Carolina from. And Carolina is not a modern state. Carolina goes back at least 1,000 years. So the same time that the Moors were, that'll be like 1,300 years. So the same time that the Moors were conquering Spain, literally 40 years after the Moors, I'll say, reestablished Spain, right? Because of the Cesta Cuvée Trust. That's all it was. It was a trust. And whenever, that's why it's written in the Declaration of Independence that when one form of government becomes corrupt to its end, it's the right of the people to establish a new form of government. So that's what the Moors did under De Luz, right, with the Visigoths. And the same thing happened with the Carolinian Empire, which was led by Charles Martel. That was in 751. So now the same thing kind of happened here with the American Indians. This was in 1670. That was in 1670 that Cacique or Cacique, however you want to pronounce it, he met with these English explorers. Now, and this is what this is depicting. Okay? So that's the depiction of it. So why were they meeting with these English explorers? Well, for both sides, it was commerce. Okay? You got to look at it like it's no different from the drug game, right? So that's like the plug. And here we were loaded with cash crops like corn, cotton, and tobacco. It was our cash crops. Now, we cultivated corn, all of this corn. This is a great museum too, by the way. Charlestown Landing. So again, that's Carlstown. That's the Carolinian Empire. So is very important. It didn't say Carolinian settlers, did it? It said English settlers. Well, they were actually English subjects because we were the English. We are the ones who actually formed the English language. So we were running England. So we didn't have time to explore other lands. Okay? And what a lot of people, we always talk about the glory days of our people, but our people some fucked up motherfuckers. You feel what I'm saying? So we were the ones that were sending these subjects here without talking to the chiefs here of the land, getting the okay. And they didn't know you can have cousins and they could be your cousins and they could be your family and everything like that. But if you don't go to your cousin's territory, or your cousin's block, and check in with them and shit like that, you can't expect like them to have like a friendly greeting, if that's the case. You feel what I'm saying? You got to check in first. So that's what King George and them was doing. Like, though them was our cousins, our long lost cousins and shit, they didn't check in with Darrell when they sent these subjects over here. So what this is depicting is these people was getting retaliation from all of the other sets of tribes along the coast of the Atlantic. And here's their first permanent settlement, which was in Charlestown. Look at this. This is in Dubai. This is on the coast of Dubai. It's called the World. And you see, they don't have North Carolina. They got Carolina Kill. You feel me? I thought this was really quite interesting. They got Los Angeles. They got Los Angeles on there. which this is California, I'm assuming. But they got Carolina. I'm going to see if I can get a closer pic. Here's me and my daughter. It's talking about the history of Casacue and when he essentially let the settlers settle there. Now, what you have to understand, the culture of what was going on with the tribes here in North America, specifically in the Carolinas at the time that these English settlers came to North Carolina, okay? Or the Carolinas. Because at the time, like, if you look at the seal, I don't know if I have a copy of the seal on me. I got to do some scrolling. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to do some explaining. So when they came, it was two things happening. The English settlers were subjects of England, and they were like living in poverty. Like they were living in poverty. They were poor, but they were taking these ships, these free ships that was already scheduled to come to what they considered the New World because they already had trade routes established. They already had the trade routes established. So when they came, they were, we had they like with us. The point I want to get across these, all the words that be in these lives is that we are the original lords and that we already had dominions over these regions. This was a monarchy. So a monarchy is ran by a king, queen, heirship, meaning that the monarchs get it from the matriarchs, and then they preserve the throne for the next matriarch, which is the king's daughter. All right? So it's very important that you know that, because when you hear and you learn about the lords of, dang, man, these Carolinas, I'm going to see if I can get that wax seal. I'm not far from it. I could sniff it. I'm not far at all. Here you go, right there. Boom. Bet. This is at the Charleston Museum. 2 different locations. But those are 2 great places that you want. If you want to study Carolinian history, that's where you should start. And then I have the Constitution from 1670 pinned on my profile. That was from March 1st, 1670. And I also have, I'm going to show. That says Magnum Carolina Siglorium Dominiorum. Dominions of all of the Carolinas. And at the time, they were considering the Carolinas being from coast to coast. So Carolina was a region coast to coast. From Charleston, I'll let it tell you. From Charleston to all the way to I'm just trying to show you all this shit. Yeah, that'll tell you. There's multiple places, reference points that talk about how it's stretched from coast to coast. But this is one of them. And it talks about the Lord proprietors. See that word right there? The last sentence? They wanted to preserve the monarchy. So the lords wasn't the kings. They just had regions in the Carolinas. Okay? They had regions in the Carolinas. So in the Tray 4, that was Lord William Granville's part of his parcel. But what I'm saying is that they were foreign, though they were foreign, the English, we still have English blood. The American Indians had English blood. We've been going to England. We've been crossbreeding with the English. You feel what I'm saying? So, but these lords, when they declared that, either way you look at it, you have a birthright tie to England. So if England was claiming Carolina, it comes from the birthright. You feel what I'm saying? It comes from the birthright from a common ancestor from the royal families. Do you get the point? So when what happened was that flip. So when they came back over here and they were claiming the dominions, we already had a monarchy over here. Do you get the point? We had a whole nation that was running. We had a whole empire over here. We had a whole empire over here. That's what I'm going to show you. So this is the Constitution. Let's say March 1st, 1670. Feel me? And you see the date that I got that. 2 different dates, 2 different locations. But this is the full PDF version. And if you want a copy of that, again, just email Darrell Q Slade at Gmail to request that. Just put in the subject, the name of the. You put in the subject line what the name of the title is. So this would be the Fundamental Constitution of Carolina, 1670. So request that. You can request that. I'm telling you, man, I got a lot of shit. And so, see, it says it's a monarchy. It was a monarchy. Why was it a monarchy? Because this was reconstituted based off of, again, the principles that was established from our kingdom. We had kings here in the Carolinas. You feel what I'm saying? It says to avoid, we the lawyer and the proprietors of the province. So that means they of the land. Okay? So that's you, that's us in modern times. That is who we are and our heirs. So every proprietor is tied to an estate. And every estate has heirs. They have heirs. So I'm getting ready to get off of here. But yeah, man, this is just gold talk. You know, we coming from the gold vault. Got these books coming from the gold vault. You feel what I'm saying? The Power of Gold, that's not for sale. But you could get it anywhere else. But I am selling the new case for gold. I got that going for, I gave my grandma a copy of that joint, bro. I gave my grandma a copy of that shit. I got this copy on November 6, 2020. I gave my grandma, long live my grandma, man. I gave her the other copy. So, yeah, but I could get more. I might be able to get more. But yeah, Indian Givers, I can get that to you. I can sell that for $5. $10 total with shipping costs. Just send again, put it in the headline, what you want. I got some alchemists for sale. Put it in the headline what you want, and then what I'm gonna do is we'll send you a link where you would purchase it, and then once you purchase it, it'll get sent out the same day. Word is bond, son. So you know what I mean. I'm a father. I'm a father. I take good care of my kids. I'm an entrepreneur. I take good care of my organizations. I'm an author. I take good care of my manuscripts. So support the real, man. If you're gonna support somebody, support the real, so you can donate towards, my organizations. They all are organized as a foundation, but you can donate towards my foundation. You can donate towards my kids. You can donate towards these books. If you want to buy books and send us books, send it to 5670 Main Street. That's Bethania, North Carolina. Put on there the unit. Put you need this 43, and that's Bethania, North Carolina, and 27010 is the code. Okay, if you want to send books. So I'm really edging for Black Law 5th for our law library. So if you can get us some fifths, y'all can just send that there. Send that there. Any books on right now, our focus is category wise. We have to build, like, I got a decent Scott Irish section, but we need more books on, I'm thinking about my children, what they're reading. Yemen, Ethiopia, Morocco, Tunisia, so the Arabs, the unknown Arabs would be a good book for our collection. The Jews of Morocco. That's the type of scholarship we need in our household. And you can donate those, but that's on my book list. You feel what I'm saying? So those are books that you can donate. Definitely the Black Law's 5th. Any law books, or any books in Latin, we take. We have Latin the sources. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's your constitution. It's on us. It says avoid democracy. Avoid democracy at all costs, bro. Avoid democracies. And that was like, see, it say that this is an ancient ceremonial site. So, ancient ceremonial site probably hints to burial grounds. They have a African American burial ground on that same landing site. And they also have just the Charlestown area in general. They have a lot of plantations. But when you look at the plantations, they look similar to what the large estates in Europe look like. So those were originally our estates. We just gave them up because we were fighting each other. The tribes were at war here in America. That's why these settlers was able to come in and get deals, because there was a war going on. So that was a war tactic. Like, yeah, bitch, I'm going to sell your land. I'm going to sell your motherfucking land. So that caused, like, and then in exchange, that caused more war. So that was what was going on between the Cherokee and the Catawba, because the Catawba were the ones who were friendly, and then sets of the Cherokee bands weren't. So that's why they were popping off with each other. And then Great Britain came in and was like, yo, we got the guns. We got the guns. We get the gunpowder. You can get these guns from us. So that introduced new technology into the joint. But I got to get off of here, man. I kind of made the points I wanted to make today on this live. So if you got this far in the live, man, I want you to put a put a silver coin in the joint. Put a silver coin in there on the comment section, man. I appreciate you, man. 1670 is so it's kind of like a compliment to my studies when I see stuff like that. You know what I mean? Here's my son standing in front of it, but yeah, it literally says, like, right there by his wrist, it says 1670. And I've already been doing this research. Jay Rogers talks about it, 1670, in his book, The 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. A lot of stuff was popping off in 1670. So that's right off of the time that the Cherokee and the Catawba were at war for a long time, bro. They were popping off. So, you know, whenever there's two rivals, there's always going to be a common one, you know. That's what happened with Christianity and Islam, and then you got the Jews. The Jews were the merchants. You feel what I'm saying? They were the ones that was selling to both sides. So, la. If you want any of those books, any books that, all other books you can get from NoMoreSuitsLLC.com. If you have any other requests, you can send it to DarrellQSlade@gmail.com. Peace.